Hello, I'm Jim Tolles. I'm a spiritual teacher, as many of you know. I offer these videos on my Jim Tolles YouTube channel, and I blog regularly at spiritualawakeningprocess.com. Today I want to talk about addressing blockages correctly. Before I go into this topic, just a quick reminder that I have more resources and links below this video. I encourage you to check them out afterwards. There's a lot of discussion around blockages on the spiritual path. A blockage is simply a place where things are not flowing naturally. A block in our minds stops us from thinking in certain ways. A block in our emotions stops us from feeling certain things. A block in our bodies stops all sorts of different physical things from working correctly. It's a simple enough idea. One of the things that people experience when their energy is awakened is that those blockages get illuminated. They get pressurized. And this is why I use the metaphor of rocks in a river. That if you think of the flowing river like awakened energy, the rocks are the blockages. And you notice them because there's that sort of inner friction of the water hitting the rocks. And so it generally kind of comes to people's minds that, well, if there's that inner friction, let's remove the rock. And of course, you don't need to have awakened energy to find blockages. You can be very sensitive to your body, to energy already. And through just general inquiry and looking within yourself, you can find places where you're stuck. Why not remove the blockages? Unfortunately, when people come with this idea of removal, it usually comes with this idea of let's get rid of something. In understanding oneness, we start to appreciate that nothing can be ever gotten rid of. At the human level, it only changes shape. It changes form. When we accept this reality, we start to see a problem with this concept of removing blockages. And that's why I didn't say removing blockages in this video title. I said addressing blockages. When we come with this idea of removal, we start to create this sort of friction and build off of this illusion of separateness, that there's something that's separate from us that we can remove from us. Additionally, it tends to miss a very important question, which is, why is this blockage here? And one of the big points that I want to make in this video is blockages are chosen. Blockages are chosen by us. We put them there. If we put something there, then it is serving a purpose. Thus, step one in addressing a blockage is being curious, and curious to know its purpose. Why is this idea, this emotion, this physical sensation or energetic sensation, why is this thing here? What is its function? More often than not, blockages are put in us, by us, to serve some sort of ego, desire, or fear. If it's a fear, then we don't want something to happen. If it's a desire, then we do want something to happen. As we look within ourselves, we become curious, like what is it this blockage is doing? Am I trying to protect myself from something or get something by changing myself somehow? Like many of you understand, that with desire, like a desire for a romantic partnership, many people try and change themselves to attract a partner, to impress them. Right? So that creates a blockage. It creates probably multiple blockages. It blocks what they say, how they act. Blocks how they offer their emotions or not. Right? So just in this one little example, I've already pointed to a whole bunch of blockages. And those do tend to take up residence within the body and within the energetic space. And if that's new to you, it really isn't real till it's real. This is one of these realities of the spiritual path, that I can point to something, it's within your space, and it will be real for you when it is real, when you look within at some point and you notice it. If it is already real for those of you who are listening, then this is a little bit easier concept to understand. And you can focus on parts of the body and the energy to see where they are, but not to remove them. What do I say over and over in these videos? I talk about surrender. So when we're curious and we genuinely want to understand ourselves, we go within. We learn to notice our emotions, our sensations, and subtle energy. And we will find things. When triggered, actively upset, or otherwise emotionally engaged with a moment, when we're triggered in that way, that often gives us some insight into where things are being held by what responds in the body. And so that's one of the ways that we also find blockages. And then we go and we surrender. That's what I talk about over and over. It's like we hurry up and surrender, not fight it, not try and remove it, because removal, once again, does not appreciate that something is part of a system. Some of our blockages are systematic, which means there's places all throughout ourselves that they exist. So major core issues, self-worth issues, or let's say the need to be perfect, whatever that means, which is still a very common blockage. That's another thing about a lot of our bigger issues is they tend to be ambiguous. We don't really know what they mean, but yet they have a certain power over us. The power of the idea to try and be perfect. And so we'll find multiple places where we don't think, say, emote, act in ways that would be true to us because we're trying to perform this act of perfection. With that issue, there'll be multiple blockages, but as we go within, we start to find them and we start to notice, oh, I'm not saying what I actually want to say right now. And maybe you feel it in your throat, the sense that something is blocked. Now, some of the people in the energetic world is like, okay, we'll just take that on out of you. It's like, but this doesn't work. We're all one. Rather, what we do is we come to the space and we surrender to it. Taking a block out when it is possible. Most of the time it isn't. Most of the time that's just a lot of airy-fairy nonsense. But every now and then somebody actually has enough energetic connection that something can move. And then you're unblocking something that a person may actually not be ready for. That's another reason why we surrender, because surrender tunes into the intelligence of the person. Doesn't necessarily mean that's easy. It usually requires patience and dedication, looking within, because otherwise we like to stay in our habitual ways of being. But yeah, every now and then somebody like pulls something out, and then this person is saying lots of things they're not ready for, and it's so scary for them that they just shut it back down and they put the block back. And so this is the point that I'm making. It's a big one today, that we choose our blockages and we reinforce them. And learning to unchoose and to peel away layers so that we're ready to break down some of these blockages, and really to think of it as a dissolving. Right? Dissolving isn't a removal, really. In the same way that if ice dissolves, it's not gone, it's just now in a fluid state. And I think that's kind of one of the best ways to understand blockages is we're dissolving them. We're turning into a fluid state that can reshape itself and move as necessary versus a blockage can't move. It's stuck where it is. It's rigid. It's hard. It's limiting. Addressing blockages correctly requires curiosity and dedication. It requires looking within, and it requires surrender. Through this understanding of ourselves that grows, things start to take care of themselves. But along the way, we're going to find out we're very committed to our blockages and that we're not really ready to let them go. And we shouldn't try and force things to go before we're really, really ready to let them dissolve on their own. And as I said, that dissolving happens through surrender. These are some thoughts for today. I hope they're helpful. Feel free to check out more of my videos on my Jim Tolles YouTube channel and check out my blog, spiritualawakeningprocess.com. Thanks.